A question that has hung over the Warriors Orochi series since it first became a series is the subject of who it was that struck down the Serpent King Orochi. The first two games feature multiple campaigns that run parallel to each other until the final stage, where the story diverges into 4 different final battles, each resulting in a different faction taking Orochi down. The third and fourth games opted instead for single campaigns, so the question doesn't need to be asked there. But for the first two, we've never been told outright who it was that killed Orochi. So let's go back to the beginning and see if we can untangle this yarn ball of a canon. Welcome to Cannonball. The story of Warriors Orochi sees the Serpent King Orochi create a rift in space and time to summon warriors and locales from the Three Kingdoms era of China and the Warring States period of Japan. He defeats these warriors, who then rise up to oppose him in 4 different resistance factions: Zhao Yun's Shu, Sun Ce's Wu, Cao Pi's Wei, and Oda Nobunaga's Samurai. Of the 4, only the Wu ending actually shows the final blow being delivered to Orochi. In Shu and Samurai, the blow has already been dealt, and in Wei, the battle is long over. This does seem to suggest that Wu canonically killed him. The sequels never outright said who it was that did it, but we get some very clear evidence in the 4th game. In that game's intro, Zeus is summarising the events of the series as he looks into a pool that shows the events through stock footage. When the death of Orochi is being discussed, it's the Wu ending that is shown. Now, this vision is diegetic, i.e. this footage is being viewed by the characters in-universe. It's not just a visual representation for the viewer's sake. And they could have just shown Orochi collapsing in the Shu ending, but they chose to show the Sun family ganking him, which is far more specific. And this clip is shown again later on, so I think we can definitively say that it was the Sun family of Wu that ultimately struck him down the first time. Which is kind of weird when you consider the fact that the Shu campaign features Zhao Yun and Sanada Yukimura, Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors' respective poster boys. You'd think they'd be the ones to take him down, but apparently not. And yes, I said the first time. For those not familiar, Warriors Orochi 2 sees Orochi brought back from the dead. This time we have Liu Bei's Shu, Sun Jian's Wu, Cao Cao's Wei, and Shima Sakon's Samurai to oppose him. Unlike last time, the Wei ending is the only one to depict Orochi's body. The others are all set afterwards and none show the actual death. But this isn't solid enough evidence on its own, so let's try and disprove an ending or two. In the final battle of the Shu campaign, we get this exchange.
Lord Orochi! They're too strong!
I have no need of sniveling cowards. Begone!
The significance of this is that Diamondback returns in the 3rd and 4th games, head still attached to his shoulders. The only characters ever confirmed to return from the dead by the 3rd game are Orochi and Kiyomori. With no mention of Diamondback's supposed death, I think we can rule out Shu's ending as having happened. I can't think of anything quite as significant to disprove the other endings though. For evidence in favour of one ending, the 3rd game does seem to hint towards one. In Chapter 3, the Coalition forces are roped into helping Daji to evade the Wei forces pursuing her at Tong Gate. While there, she obtains a box that we only learn later on contains the remains of Orochi. So Daji went to Tong Gate to obtain Orochi's remains, which were being guarded by Wei. Tong Gate is not the location of any of the 2nd game's final battles, so that doesn't help us. But the fact that Wei are the ones guarding the body does. Wei's finale sees Nobunaga joining up with Cao Cao so the two can take Orochi down together. If the battle goes on long enough, Liu Bei and Sun Jian also arrive to help. While they only arrive with an officer or 2 each, they would obviously bring their entire armies with them, but technical limitations and gameplay balance limit their number. Cao Cao is set up as this charismatic leader of men who gains the support of every major warlord by the end. The presence of the Shu and Wu forces helps to back that idea up. But then, you ask, what about the Samurai faction? The Samurai campaign focuses on Sakon attempting to unite the 3 samurai warlords that came together against Orochi last time: Nobunaga, Kenshin, and Shingen. He does so and is then presented as stepping into the background to let those 3 take centre stage in the ending. It's not unreasonable, I think, for Sakon to hand command over to them, with Nobunaga being chosen as top dog due to leading one of the 4 major resistance armies last time, and then taking this force to join Cao Cao in the Wei campaign. Sure, he only brings a couple officers there, but much like with Liu Bei and Sun Jian, this could simply be a limited representation of the samurai faction for balance reasons. With Cao Cao leading the combined forces of the humans, I could easily see them deferring to him once the subject of guarding Orochi's body to prevent a second resurrection comes up. He then hands responsibility over to Cao Pi, who led Wei in his father's absence in the first game. I think that's a pretty conclusive result. Wu defeated Orochi in the first game, and Cao Cao led the combined human forces against him in the second. As a bonus, I also have a note about the third game, which did still have multiple endings despite only having one campaign. If the player defeats the Hydra before finishing Chapter 3, they get the bad ending. If they clear Chapter 3 and don't have all the characters, they get the good ending. If they do have everyone and clear Chapter 3, they get the true ending. When Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate released with a new story set after the main game, the true ending was unusable due to everyone being sent home with amnesia, so they opted to make the good ending canonical since everyone stays in that one. Eventually everyone goes home, but it's suggested that they all remember this time. However, the fourth game has it that everyone got sent home without their memories and the events of Ultimate are never once referenced. Newcomers from Ultimate are unlockable but not part of the plot, and even in unique interactions with the rest of the cast, those events are never brought up. So, other than the flashbacks from Chapter 7, did they just retcon Ultimate out of canon? What the hell is this, Mortal Kombat? If you liked this video, why not subscribe and support me on Patreon like these fine people here? If not, then make sure to share it with your enemies so they too can get sent home with amnesia.